How's it going, everybody? It's Misha, and I'm here to give you a review of the Netflix movie, The Harder They Fall. So, before we fall into this review, please give me a like, comment, and subscribe. Let's go ahead and get right on into this. I genuinely and generally have a harder time doing Netflix stuff because it requires you to just binge, which means I need to dedicate a certain amount of time. But this is just a movie, a 2-hour movie. Actually, it isn't just a movie; it's a pretty damn good movie. I'm gonna save on what I'm gonna save for later. But this movie, Western, and it's all black. There's one moment when they go to the town of Mayfield, which is literally a white town. Literally, when they go there, it says Mayfield, and it's in caps the white town because everything is in white, including everything except for like one or two or even a handful of doors that are green or blue. Town is literally lily white, which is hilarious because it's based on how white it is. And actually, our opening train hitchhiking thievery scene, everybody on there is white as well, including the American soldiers. Well, everybody in here is American, aren't they? But yeah, all black cast. And the thing I love about this, the introduction to this show says, while the events are fictional, it says these people existed. Now, I had to pull up, not only did I pull up the IMDb so I can get the names right of the actors and who played these actually real characters. I also have another article that kind of goes into exactly who the people were they were playing in real life. As a matter of fact, a bunch of these people weren't even alive at the same time. These are legends of the Wild West, and yeah, black people. We have a lot of history, and one of the things that this does delve into, it delves into the town of Redwood, which is established by our bad guy, known as oh Lord, what is this guy's name? Known as Rufus Buck, based off of the actual gangster Rufus Buck, played by Idris Elba. And this is a town that he made essentially for black people. And the whole entire issue is that expansion is going out to the west. Now, it was promised to the people who had settled there that they would have all their things, but you got to pay taxes in order to keep all your stuff. And while the nobleness of his act is of what he wants, it's there. How he goes about it is just completely. He's a dastardly guy. He's actually called the devil several times throughout this movie, which Bass Reeves. If you know anything about me, Bass Reeves is my favorite Western. I don't even want to call him a folk hero because folk almost implies that he's not real, but he's very much real. He's the inspiration behind the Lone Ranger. He was the one and only black U.S. Marshal. Couldn't read, couldn't write, but the guy always caught his man. As a matter of fact, he commanded so much respect in the real world that when the government decided to strip away all black deputies and marshals, when he worked his job just kind of doing kind of like a security thing almost, the people who worked with him still gave him tons of respect because they knew who he was up until his death. As a matter of fact, Bass Reeves is such a justice bound, law binding man that one of the people he had to bring in was his own son. And he did the job and he did what he had to do. I highly recommend looking up Bass Reeves. But let's go through who is in this movie. We have, it's led by Jonathan Majors, who's playing Nat Love. Idris Elba, I told you before, he's playing Rufus Buck. There's Zazie Beetz playing Stagecoach Mary. Regina King playing the terrible Trudy Smith. There's Delroy Lindo playing Bass Reeves. That's a perfect casting for that. BTW. Amazing casting for that. Lakeith Stanfield is playing Cherokee Bill. RJ Seiler is playing Jim Buckworth. Danielle Deadweiler is playing Cuffy. Also known actually Cuffy. Cuffy is actually the name that, well, it's her name, but the name she was born with was Kathy Williams. And Kathy Williams is actually the first African American soldier who enlisted in the United States Army. She actually tricked everybody. She pulled a Mulan, actually, and enlisted in the name of William Kathy. She enlisted pretending to be a man, but she's the first black woman to be enlisted, actually. But I digress. There's also Eddie. oh goodness, I can't say this guy's name right. It's Edie uh, Gathaji as Bill Pickett. If you want to know who I'm talking about, black guy from X-Men First Class. There you go. He played Darwin. It's really hard for me to say his last name. Dion Cole as Willie Esco, and then there's Damon Wayans Jr. as Monroe Grimes. Now, as I said before, these people actually existed, but they weren't all outlaws. Just like I told you about Cuffy. That's definitely, well, the person she's actually is Kathy Williams, but that's actually not an outlaw. As a matter of fact, if I can pick this back up, Stagecoach Mary was never an outlaw. She's the first black mail carrier that carried the mail all throughout the Western United States. Um, Jim Buckworth and Bill Pickett actually was just a rodeo performer. And that's one of the things that I am going to touch on. I'm just going to skip some of my other points. The characters being based on real people. Um, Great choice on top of the characterization of them, taking their legend and what they were known for, and just not warping it but changing it to tell a really amazing story. One of the things that I love the most in this movie, since I'm a Bass Reeves fan, I will never say the word stand because I hate standing, but the respect he commands when walking into an establishment that walking into Stagecoach Mary's establishment that says, "Hey, you got to give up your guns," and Cuffy's able to knock. She can knock out grown men, even while being mistaken as a male. She's knocked out men twice her size. But when Bass Reeves comes, it's like the badge says I can walk in without it. Just, he commands so much respect that even in a room where he's kind of outmatched, he's like, "Hey, I'm taking him with me." He's so amazing that when we first see him start to when he starts to join in that third act, he's not really he ducks around not even twice, once. He walks through and just lays into people, which actually in what Bass Reeves actually was known for was being a smart fighter. He would play dead, get his target when they were close, and he actually always preferred to not have to kill anybody, which was kind of a thing that was transferred over to Cherokee Bill. Just I wish I could go through each character and their crowning moments. Cherokee Bill, while initially characterized in this movie in the beginning just to be a guy who's like, I don't want to kill anybody and blah 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 blah. And he's very well spoken because Cherokee Bill was deeply involved with the Native Americans. As a matter of fact, I think he ran amok in the Native American territories as an outlaw. While it did seem like he was supposed to be, I guess, honorable outlaw, the dude cheated the 3 count when it was finally a chance for the standoff between him and Jim, and then he shot Bill in the back. I'll give you credit. I give it credit. This movie does a great job of you want to see these bad guys get killed. Like there's a really I can't remember. I don't even know the character's name. I don't think they give a name for him. But it's a bigger gentleman. Again, everybody in this movie is black. So bigger guy with a winky eye. He actually lays into Nat really good. He almost he's gonna um, choke out Mary until Trudy's like, no, she's not gonna die just yet. This guy gets blown up so wonderfully, and that's another thing about that's I'm gonna skip from the characters to the lines. The dialogue in this movie is really good. It doesn't feel forced. It has it's equal parts seriousness and weight to the characters, as well as when they're delivering lines that necessarily aren't even jokes. They're pretty funny because it alleviates a lot of the tension. Um, the line where Jim's like, "Oh man, okay, so that is a she because I thought I was falling for a guy," and Bill's like, "No, it's just you that was falling for, bruh." Or the line of Cherokee Bill's like, "Why do they take so long to count?" Such and just such good stuff. Such good stuff. Presentation. The only thing I had a question about is I don't know if they actually had scopes in the Wild West. Like there was a time when a person had his rifle and he was able to look down the scope. I don't know when scopes were made. Didn't take the time to look it up before this. I literally just finished this movie maybe 20 minutes ago. I just wanted to get a couple things up. But yes, that's the only thing I had a question about because they had accurate stagecoaches. The West looked like the West. Horses, even the horses were freaking unique. The towns and everything, and it's to highlight that there were black towns that just so happened the United States wiped us out. Sorry, wiped them out, and that's just a part of history. There's nothing you can do to change that except for push these type of things to the forefront. It's remarkable that we have time for underlying plot like that in this movie. And actually, the I don't know how many of you are fans of westerns. Of course, I am. I tend to watch westerns when they come out. Actually, truthfully, the last western I did watch was the Ridiculous Six. Yes, the Adam Sandler movie, BTW. That's actually a good movie. Ridiculous Six with Adam Sandler, and I know Terry Crews is in there too. It's actually a good movie. Give it a try once you have time after watching this. I've seen that, and the movie before that was 310 to Yuma, which I didn't get a chance to see in the theaters, but I definitely bought the DVD for that. This hammers home the Western themes, wanting to be, especially when you're having black characters now, wanting to be free, wanting to be their own people, being confined to revenge. And that's, most Westerns, that's the whole plot. It's either we got to rob this bank to save this person, or there's a revenge plot. The revenge plot comes from Nat Love watching both of his parents get gunned down and Rufus Buck carved a cross on his face. Which, the swerve, didn't expect the swerve at the end of this movie. Swerve, spoilers, by the way. The swerve at the end of this movie is that Buck and Love are actually brothers. Half brothers, but they're actually brothers. The revenge begots revenge plot, which I didn't know if Nat was actually going to kill him at the end, but the raw emotion that is felt, that Majors pushes out as Nat Love because he's unloading this 6 shooter several times after he's done with it. That's what I mean by the characterization. I, I just wow. The music. This movie was produced by Jay Z. It was helped produced by Jay Z, and any and all connections he has with the music world was duly used in this movie. Not only did the music sound authentic when it comes to being Western, remember, we're black, so we do have African undertones, we have hip hop undertones, there are Negro spirituals that are sung, I want to say, twice throughout this movie. Once when they're loading up, getting ready to get back married, and earlier on when we're kind of having a soft, tranquil moment between Nat and Mary. Um, Everybody wants to talk about having strong female leads. Now, the one thing, the small complaint is that Mary becomes sort of a damsel, but at the same time, she became a damsel because of what she chose to do. She didn't want to be beholden to be having Nat over her, having kind of his will inflicted on her, and not saying like he is a bossy character, saying she makes her own decisions. She is a business owner. She has several businesses, several saloons, even a restaurant. She does well for herself, and she's well known. Pardon me, but I'm kind of sad that she becomes the damsel. But as soon as she's freed, her body count is just as big. She is part of the Nat Love gang, former gang. Just the and when I go and pair this into with the pacing, because I'm going from music to this to pacing. The pacing is very wonderful because we go from having the backstory of the main character, or the yeah, you can say Nat Love is the main character because a lot of the characters in this movie do get equal time. Uh, when we get that opening scene, and then we are introduced to him getting revenge on the man with the scorpion on his hand. And there's so many. I don't want to say it's kind of a what was it parallels. It's a parallel because he killed the man with the scorpion on his hand, who apparently had turned over a new leaf. He claimed, and I didn't care about that. The way he killed him was anime esque. He was able to shoot him while he was falling in the air. It's the same thing that Rufus said later on. He said, father had turned over a new leaf, became a preacher, and all this, that, and the third. So the parallels between them was so crazy. My one complaint is I don't understand why Mary didn't double tap on Trudy. Like she won her fight, but obviously Trudy wasn't dead. And we do get to see, last part of the movie, we do get to see Trudy is still alive. But I don't think normally westerns don't get sequels. I don't want to see a sequel for this, mostly because a lot of the characters are dead. That's what happens in western. Characters die. I don't need to see a sequel for this. But yeah. And the only person who I knew for sure wasn't gonna die was Bass Reeves because the legend of Bass Reeves is too deep. He dies of old age and he deserves that. Kudos to this movie for not twisting and flipping that, but to give him the respect that his legend deserves. Did all this. So, I already said about my favorite Bass Reeves. I said that over and over again. Let's talk about the emotion. It sends you on a roller coaster. And most westerns do give you that cool feel, or sometimes you might get a laugh here or there, or you might feel sense of emotion or that heightened sense from action scenes. This movie that will send you on a roller coaster. Um, the best scene in this movie. It's hard for me to say the best scene in this movie, but the entire third act was beautifully done. Um, and I know I'm jumping back to when I'm talking about pacing. It feels earned. Everything that happened in there feels earned. You have okay. I need to get this guy. Bass Reeves wants to get this guy, and the incredible part about this is Rufus Buck gets out because the U.S. government's mad at General Abbott, who gunned down a whole village of women and children as well to get some silver. Which, in the end, is very funny when Trudy and Cherokee Bill says that's some unscrupulous shit. Given how dirty they are, Cherokee Bill fights dirty, and an era when it's like, well, you're supposed to do a quick draw contest, but he does point out it's not about who's the fastest, it's who's alive, which makes sense, unfortunately. And Trudy is just, I wouldn't mess with Trudy. I really, really wish they had killed her. Trudy, it's very much alluded to that Trudy had killed a young lady named Hope for breaking her sister's leg, which led her to be sent off to her grandparents because her father didn't know what to do with her. Can't say that Hope didn't have it coming, but at the same time, Trudy, you're a grown woman now. That she's evil. If Rufus Buck is the devil, she's the she devil. I already mentioned that funny moment of the town of Mayville. And one of the best things, this goes into pacing, how they were all introduced. The introduction of the characters and the actors that play them, Zaza Beetz as Mary. I don't remember Mary's actual last name, but Stagecoach Mary. The wonderful backdrop with the music showing each of them doing their poses, and then lumping them together. Like, this is the Nat Love group. I almost said Nat Turner. This is the Rufus Buck gang. And then you have Bass Reeves and Cuffy, where it's like, where do these two stand? It's a tale of loyalty. It's a tale of loyalty, revenge, wanting to make your own way, and at the same time wanting to live free. So many tones. As of right now, this is my movie of the year. Kind of sad I only got a small screening, but given the times that we live in, A lot of people don't even want to go out for big blockbuster movies. So, smart idea. I hope to see more westerns, more movies like this, especially featuring black cowboys. Those stories aren't really told all the time, and not even really. Those stories aren't told all the time, and we need more opportunities like this to shine a light on these people's names because hey, even though most of these people weren't around at the same time, and even though most of them weren't actual gunmen and gunwomen, it is a good thing to show, to put out these names so at least someone will go out and do a little bit of research. And I do implore you to do some research on a lot of these people, especially Bass Reeves if you don't know who Bass Reeves is. But that's I got to give this a rating, right? 5 out of 5. Best 2 hours I've ever spent. Would I watch it again? More than likely, I'll watch it again. Not very soon. I had to take at the 45-minute mark. There was so much happening. I had to take a quick breather. As soon as I jumped back into the movie, more stuff happened. 5 out of 5. Great movie. If you've seen it, let me know. What your favorite part, who your favorite character was in the comment section down below. I implore you to go watch this. As always, give me a like. Subscribe if you aren't subscribed, and if you are subscribed, hit me up with that notification bell right there, just so you can get notified of whenever I do videos like this. I'm gonna try to do more Netflix stuff for you guys, especially some of their exclusive shows and movies. As always, share the video so others can hear what an interesting and great time we had, and I would love for you guys to join in on the conversation. So again, leave me a comment. As always, thank you for your time. Please be good, be blessed, wash your hands, wear your mask. Be good to yourself and be good to others either way it goes. Don't be a jerk, and I will definitely see you next time.